creative researchers say. This is a really fun article. I think you guys will get a kick out of it. March 14th, so actually that was what, yesterday, depending on when this is out. March 15th, March 14th. Anyway, here we go. New program shows early success with U.S. Army and others. Jeff Grabmeier, news.osu.edu. Anyone can be trained to be creative, researchers say, is the URL. Now, here we go. Researchers have developed a new method for training people to be creative, one that shows promise of succeeding far better than current ways of sparking innovation. This new method, based on narrative theory, helps people be creative in the way children and artists are, by making up stories that imagine alternative worlds, shift perspective, and generate unexpected actions. The narrative method works by recognizing that we're all creative, said Angus Fletcher. Strong name. Sorry, I just have to interject there. That is a strong name. Angus Fletcher, you're going to be a really good MMA athlete and you play guitar, who developed the method and is a professor of English and a member of the Ohio State University's Project Narrative. We as a society radically undervalue the creativity of kids and many others because we are obsessed with the idea that some people are more creative than others, Fletcher said. But the reality is that we're just not training creativity in the right way. Fletcher and Mike Benvenista, I'm going to say Benvenista, final answer, also of Project Narrative, discussed the narrative method of training creativity in a just published article in the Annals of the New York Academy of Sciences. The two researchers successfully used the narrative approach to train members of the U.S. Army's Command and General Staff College. Fletcher wrote a publicly available training guide based on his methods that was tailored to officers and advanced enlisted personnel. They have also worked with the University of Chicago Booth School of Business, the Ohio State College of Engineering, and several Fortune 50 companies to teach creativity to their staffs and students. The current foundation, we'll get there, don't worry, they'll go over the actual approach in case you're getting really bored here. The current foundation of creativity training is the technique known as divergent thinking, which has been in use since the 1950s. It is a computational approach to creativity that treats the brain as a logic machine, Fletcher said. It works through exercises designed to, among other things, expand working memory, foster analogical thinking, and promote problem solving. But divergent thinking hasn't delivered the results that many people hoped for, Fletcher said. A major issue is that its computational approach relies on data and information about the problems and successes of the past. What it can't do is help prepare people for new challenges that we know little about today. It can't come up with truly original actions, Fletcher said, but the human brain's narrative machinery can. So this is where it gets cool. The narrative method of training for creativity uses many of the techniques that writers use to create stories. One is to develop new worlds in your mind. For example, employees at a company might be asked to think about their most unusual customer. I'm going to put unusual customer in quotes because I'm assuming they're talking about the biggest jerk, the biggest a-hole customer. Then imagine a world in which all their customers were like that. How would that change their business? What would they have to do to survive? This is why I wanted to make this video, is just that paragraph alone is gold. That idea of taking your worst customer and then flipping it. Imagine the entire world is that guy. That means you're the a-hole, right? If everyone else is like-minded, you're the odd man out. That literally makes you the a-hole. So how would you navigate that world? It's a very cool thought experiment. You pretty much, you know what that is? That's like, for the Star Trek nerds out there, that's like the Borg. You have to either be assimilated by them or you're dead. So That is a very cool way to look through someone else's eyes. It's a practice in empathy, really, and through that empathy you find creativity. I love this. Another technique, I'm continuing with the article now. Another technique is perspective shifting. An executive at a company might be asked to answer a problem by thinking like another member of their team. The point of using these techniques and others like them is not that the scenarios you dream up will actually happen, Fletcher said. Creativity isn't about guessing the future correctly. It's about making yourself open to imagining radically different possibilities, he said. Again, I'm gonna say it again because that's such an awesome line. Creativity isn't about guessing the future correctly. It's about making yourself open to imagining radically different possibilities, he said. When you do that, you can respond more quickly and nimbly to the changes that do occur. Fletcher noted that the narrative approach of training creativity through telling stories resembles how young children are creative, and research shows that young children are more imaginatively creative than adults. But the ability of children to perform creative tasks drops after 4 or 5 years of schooling, according to studies. That's when children begin intensive logical, semantic, and memory training. The narrative approach to creativity can help people unlock the creativity they may have stopped using as they progressed through school, Fletcher said. One advantage for organizations that train employees to be creative is that they no longer need to strive to hire creative people, he said. Trying to hire creative people causes problems because the people that leaders identify as creative are almost always people just like themselves, so it promotes conformity instead of originality. That's very, very interesting as well. It's better to hire a diverse group of people and then train them to be creative. That creates a culture that recognizes that if there are already creative people in your organization, that you aren't taking advantage of. While this narrative method of creativity training has already been received positively, Fletcher and his colleagues have started a more formal evaluation. They are conducting randomized, butchering this, controlled trials of the creativity curriculum on more than 600 U.S. Army majors who are part of the Command and General Staff College. They are also continuing to work with new organizations such as the Worthington Local School District in Ohio. Teaching creativity is one of the most useful things you can do in the world because it is just coming up with new solutions to solve problems, he said. Fletcher said this new method of training creativity could only have come from Ohio State's Project Narrative. Project Narrative is all about how stories work in the brain. It is the foundation that helped us put together this new way of thinking about and training for creativity, he said. And Project Narrative is itself proof of the power of creativity. It's something that Ohio State created, something that would not have existed otherwise. Now, listen, I did practice this, or I've learned to practice this just through empathy. Here's another book. Last time I talked about the book Man's Search for Meaning. Here's another book for you, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. It's pretty much cliche in business nowadays since it's been read and talked about so many times, but one of the habits in there is empathy. To seek first to understand, then to be understood. That's at the core of empathy. That's how to think empathically. You're trying to look through the other person's eyes before giving your 2 cents on something. That's pretty much what they're talking about in that envisioning yourself in the other person's shoes scenario, but instead of using it as a communicative tool with the other person, they're talking about coming up with a creative solution to a problem while you're thinking like that person. Dude, I don't think it's far off from thinking like some kind of a mutant or an X-Man that would be like really super empathic. Who would do that? Not Rogue. Mystique. Now she could just take on who's an empath. There's gotta be is it Professor X? Is Professor X the empath? Jean Grey? This is getting into different territory here. I want to shout out, actually. Someone who watches this often. Neon, are you listening to this? You said you listen to this after work every day, so it's cool if you are listening to this. Neon had some criticism for me. Okay, here we go. Yeah, we got the comment from Neon. Before I say this, this is what I'm trying to say eloquently, and hopefully after I read this you'll understand why. Having this channel forces me to use that narrative method. The only thing is, you guys are the a-hole customers. Okay, now hear me out here, because I ultimately, as the story will reveal, am the real a-hole, but it's revealed to me later. I'm giving you the story like you are looking through my eyes. Let's be empathic with each other here, okay? I make this channel and I give it my all. I have a day job, mind you, a full-time engineering day job that I have to kick ass at, or I get fired, and I have to do, not have to, I enjoy doing this, but I like trying to do as many videos as possible. I shoot for 1 a day, 2, whatever. And so that's, just know that that's me. That's where I'm coming from, right? So whatever I can get out, as long as it's semi-calm. I know I'm hyper right now, but as long as it's semi-calm and I kind of get it out there, then it's cool. Then you have someone like Neon and comes in and says this. Maybe it's just me, but I find it way more distracting when you mention airplanes, cars outside than the actual sounds themselves. You can just cut those parts out if they really are that bad. We don't need an announcement every time a car goes by, laughing my ass off, and 99% of the time you bring it up like 5 times per video almost. I can never hear the sounds anyways, and I wear headphones. That's an important part for me. That's why I emphasized it. Just a suggestion, bro, keep up the videos. I listen almost every day, almost an hour, sorry, for a day for the last hour of work. Okay, so in that case, let's say Neon is the a-hole or the irate customer. Neon is putting something in the suggestion box there, and it's a request, and let's be real, where is it? We don't need an announcement every time a car goes by, and every time you bring it up like 5 times per video. Those are little jabs. Those are So you could be considered a dick in those. Obviously, I'm saying it playful. Dude, if I ever call you a dick, it's endearing. Don't worry. You're part of the crew, part of the ship. So I had to look at that. And in that situation, ironically, there is a street sweeper behind me right now. Okay, sorry to break the immersion, but I have to say it because it's contextual. So I'll look at that, and at first, like, there's still this primal thing in me where it's like an electric shock, where I'm like, what is this? Someone wants me to change my scheme, right? Because it's uncomfortable, because you have to break your routine in order to accommodate this request. Because why? That's the thing here. Why is it uncomfortable, and why did I even get in that habit? Because I got lazy, and that is the long and short of it. After looking at it from Neon's point of view, and if we take that narrative approach and make up this world where there's, say, round number 3027 subscribers you are. So if I take a world of 3,000 Neons, all with that perception where I should not even address the vehicles in the background, I'm forced to empathize. And guess what? It's pretty damn easy to empathize with that position, isn't it? You've got a guy that's reading things, you're clicking on the videos in order to just get your education on, or to be put to sleep, whatever it is. You want the full immersion in the article that I'm reading. You don't need me announcing that there's a car 5 times a video, as Neon put it. It's true, it's just too easy to identify with. And as a result, what happened? Ever since that 10 days ago, you can even go and you can fact check me on this. Not a single time have I brought up vehicles in the background. So if you're one of the people that did notice that, I want you to put "thank you, Neon" in the comments, because Neon literally changed my creativity, my process into this channel, because I was forced to think like 3,000 Neons, and ultimately I sided with that opinion. Okay, we're done. done here. And oh, that's funny. Yeah, you know what? Here's the revenue. You guys like to look at stats. You can actually, I'll go ahead and show you. Estimated revenue for 28 days, $104. Like I said, you guys pay for my coffee with those commercials, and I appreciate it. And also, I'll make you a deal. As this number goes up, we're gonna toss that into trivia prizes. You can also see, just so you know that I do enjoy this channel and I like putting money into it. You can already see that the money I've put into trivia and giveaways and whatnot far exceed what I make on this. I do it to try to, well, help you guys out. So, as such, leave me a like and subscribe for the love of God. If you could, comments and stuff, anything that helps the algorithm. I'm gonna be in the comments. I sound like Derek from More Plates, More Dates when I say that. Leave a comment, helps the algorithm. Gorilla Mind, Gorilla Mode, Gorilla Rush. What are his other ones that he says? I'm getting off topic. Have a good night, guys. I'll talk to you in the comments soon. Bye-bye.